It was a moment that fans of rock and heavy metal music will never forget. Years from now, people will still remember where they were when they watched Ozzy Osbourne say goodbye to his solo music career. This unforgettable event happened at a huge concert called Back to the Beginning, and it was one of the most talked about events in the music world. All day long, fans around the globe were glued to their screens, waiting to see one of the biggest legends in music history perform for the final time as a solo artist. Ozzy Osbourne is not just a famous rock star, he's a cultural icon. People of all ages know his name, even if they don't listen to heavy metal. His popularity grew even more when he and his family starred in the reality TV show The Osbournes, which aired on MTV. The show gave fans a behind-the-scenes look at his life, and many people grew to love Ozzy as a person, not just as a performer. His funny, quirky personality made him even more beloved by millions of viewers. But on this special day, the focus was back on the music. Ozzy Osbourne walked onto the stage one final time to perform as a solo artist. He had already played his full set, and it was clear to everyone watching that this was the end of an era. While Ozzy is still expected to join his legendary band Black Sabbath for a final group performance later, this solo show was the last time we would ever see him perform alone on stage. The Back to the Beginning event took place at Villa Park in Birmingham, England, Ozzy's hometown. That made this emotional performance even more special. Throughout the day, the concert featured non-stop performances from rock and metal legends. It wasn't just any concert. It was a full-blown tribute to the history of heavy metal music. The host of the event was actor Jason Momoa, who many people know as Aquaman. He showed just how much he loved the music by diving into the mosh pit during a wild performance by the band Pantera. The energy in the stadium was electric. Other legendary bands also rocked the stage. Slayer played a career-spanning set full of their most famous songs. Guns N' Roses gave a high-energy performance that thrilled the crowd. Then came Metallica, who closed out their set with a thunderous show that shook the entire stadium. But despite all of these unforgettable moments, everything was building up to one man, Ozzy Osbourne. For fans, this was more than just another concert. It was the end of a solo music career that seemed impossible at one point. After being fired from Black Sabbath in 1979, many people thought Ozzy was finished. But he surprised everyone by starting a solo career that would make him even more famous than before. Over the next 50 years, Ozzy Osbourne became one of the best-selling solo artists in rock history. He sold more than 100 million albums around the world. One of his biggest breakthroughs came when he teamed up with legendary guitarist Randy Rhoads. Together, they created iconic albums like Blizzard of Oz and Diary of a Madman. These records changed the sound of metal in the 1980s and brought in a whole new generation of fans. Sadly, Randy Rhoads died in a tragic plane crash, but Ozzy kept going. He released hit after hit, including the multi-platinum album No More Tears. No matter what happened in his life, he always came back stronger, proving that he was a true rock warrior. Then, in the early 2000s, Ozzy became even more famous, not just for his music, but for being himself. His reality show, The Osbournes, was a massive hit. It was the highest-rated series in MTV's history at the time, and even won an Emmy Award. People who had never listened to a metal song before suddenly knew who Ozzy was. They loved watching him as a quirky but kind-hearted father, husband, and rock legend. Now, at this final solo concert, Ozzy performed a short but powerful set. Even though it wasn't a long show, it was packed with emotion and 50 years of music history. The crowd was full of devoted fans, some of whom had followed Ozzy for decades, and they knew every word to every song. Here's what Ozzy Osbourne played in his final solo performance. I Don't Know. A classic opener that got the crowd fired up. Mr. Crowley. A haunting, theatrical song that showcased Ozzy's dramatic style. Suicide Solution, a powerful, controversial song from his early solo years. Mama, I'm Coming Home, a beautiful, emotional ballad that had the entire audience singing along. Some fans were even crying. Crazy Train, his most famous song and the perfect way to end his solo career. The crowd went wild, cheering and chanting as the song ended. When the final note rang out, Ozzy Osbourne stood on stage with tears in his eyes. He looked out at the fans, some waving flags, others holding up signs that said, "Thank you, Ozzy." He raised his hand to wave goodbye and thanked everyone for the love and support they had shown him for the past 50 years. You could feel how much this moment meant to him. He wasn't just saying goodbye to a job, he was saying goodbye to a lifetime of memories, music, and magic. Slowly, Ozzy walked off the stage, ending his solo career forever. But the story isn't over just yet. As the crowd wiped away tears and caught their breath, the announcers reminded everyone that Black Sabbath, the band that started it all, would be taking the stage soon. Fans were getting ready for one last chance to see Ozzy perform with his old bandmates. This day will go down in music history as one of the most emotional and unforgettable moments ever. Ozzy Osbourne didn't just perform songs, he changed the world of music forever. He proved that you can fall, get back up, and become even stronger. He inspired millions with his passion, his honesty, and his powerful voice. And now, after decades of rocking the world, Ozzy Osbourne has taken his final bow as a solo artist. But his legacy will live on in the hearts of fans everywhere. Stay tuned, because the story of heavy metal isn't finished just yet.